Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Guardian Tactical Recon 35 G2, or Gen 2, I assume is what that means. This knife is made entirely in the USA, and the original, which is one that I have, is one of my favorite USA-made dual-action automatic OTF knives ever. This, which looks identical, has one big change that makes it really, truly incredible. In fact, almost the best of its kind. We'll talk about that here in just a second. Thanks so much to eKnives for loaning this knife to me for review. I don't get to keep it. It's going to go back to eKnives, so I appreciate that. I will link this knife down in the description. It is definitely available. It does help my channel when you use those links, but that's entirely up to you. Make sure and check out eKnives. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. I've reviewed this knife, and it is largely the same. I'm going to get through specs really quickly so I can tell you about this knife. Overall length is coming in about 7.85 inches. Just about an 8-inch knife. Blade length is 3.35. Cutting edge is about 3 1/4. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. Any custom skills you find in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and Others. Up against the 80-10 and my own Excalibur. You can see that it's smaller than these two, but it's not a small knife. I definitely would not describe it that way. It's essentially a full-size knife at right about 8 inches or just shy. Let's put it up against the PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3. Very close in overall size of the PM2, just a little bit shorter, not quite as tall this way. Definitely bigger than something like the Spyderco Para 3. And then finally, let's put it up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue and the Hogue Deca. How's the action? That's a big part of every dual action OTF. I don't need it to be the most powerful. I need it to be reliable. I need to know that when I push that switch, it's going to deploy. When I pull it back, it will retract it. This definitely does that. In fact, my other Guardian Tactical, which has been deployed who knows how many times, has literally never failed. Now, I keep my OTFs regularly cleaned with rem oil. Probably, you know, if I'm going to EDC it a lot, I probably do it every couple of months, right? Just a shot, and then, you know, cycle it 10, 20 times, and then wipe it off, and I'm good to go. I haven't had to do this to this one, but the action on it is superb, and the reason is because of the switch. We know about the switch already, Complex. It's the bearing switch. We know. It is. It's the same thing. It's the bearing switch. What they changed makes everything better. Instead of the old slippery, it's just too rounded. Like their switch it's a cool shape, and it was easy to interact with. What it lacked was traction. They put the traction on there. This has absolutely perfect traction. I was doing this earlier, seeing how many of my fingers I could actually deploy this with. I don't know if I can get it with this one. It's crazy. This is the easiest to deploy OTF that I have ever experienced. Even better than the wide, easy switches that Microtech has on their new stuff. Better than the Kershaw Livewire. The only knife that really competes in terms of ease is probably the Hawk Deadlock, but that's like way, way, way more expensive. All the other knives that I listed are really great. Like they're great. This is the most comfortable and most convenient. It is the most second nature, low brain cell usage deployment. I mean, like that's kind of the thing with OTFs. That's the convenience of them. You pull them out of your pocket, you push the thing forward and they deploy. Pull it back and it retracts. I mean, it's simple. And I think it makes them safer than your average folding knife because your hand is never in the way of the blade, ever. I mean, it cannot fold on you. That's not how that works, right? So, I mean, I suppose under extreme force, I guess you could. Somebody's going to be like, well, what if a sledgehammer-wielding maniac strikes the blade at the exact moment that... All right, well, in that crazy scenario, your kids ever do that to you? You give them a logical response, and they're like, well, what if a dragon? And you're like, that's not going to happen. It's very low likeliness. And they're like, but what if? Anyways, sorry. It's the kind of stuff we talk about driving to and from sports practice, right? The what if scenarios. And by the time we get there, I've just about ripped my hair out. But anyways, the action is incredible. It is truly incredible. It's all of that same smooth bearing, right? And it honestly is very snappy. The power on this feels really, really good. It is more than enough power to deploy the blade. I think it feels great. I wouldn't change a single thing. I think it's perfect. Let's go ahead and do carry profile thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. It's maybe slightly thinner, ever so slightly thinner. I don't know. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. Yeah, it's a very easy object to carry. Incredibly compact. So let's weigh it. What are we looking at for materials? We are looking at Magnacut for the blade and aluminum for the frame, then some steel parts like the internals of chassis, steel pocket clip, etc. Yeah, nothing too crazy here. I bet it weighs like 3.5 to 4 ounces. That would be my guess. That's fluid ounces. Not correct at all. There we go. Okay. Yeah, 3.8 ounces for 3.35 inches of blade. Pretty good. Probably going to be a little bit butt heavy. Yeah, just a little bit. But honestly, like the size of object, just doesn't bother me. Let's go ahead and get out my tools for a hardware check. My tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. So I believe all of these screws are T8. Yeah. You have 5 T8 screws and you're in. I don't know if these the pocket clip screws, I don't think that they have to be taken out. They might. Very easy to access the internals, and OTFs are nowhere near as complicated or as intimidating to take apart and put back together as some people think. It's actually pretty easy. I wouldn't do it unless you had to, but if you do have to, pretty easy. As long as you have the right tools for the job, you'll be good to go. Blade stock thickness. Let's grab her right there. That is 138 thousandths. Okay, it's kind of like middle of the road. That's fine. Meat and potatoes time. Ergonomic lines, I believe they are largely the same. They have added some jimping. Honestly, the lock-in is just that much better. I like this last little area right here that's kind of like an indentation for your index finger so that you know when you're about to run it up on the blade. It's a nice little spot. The button, despite having additional traction, does not create a hot spot for me. I think maybe if you're cutting like this for like a long period of time, it might start to kind of bite on your hand, but not really. During normal use, it's still knocked down enough, right? It's just the traction on that jimping there is so much better. This is how they should have done it originally. It's perfect. These lines here, they've added those in, I think. They add a little bit of a traction zone. This knife is really, it's kind of like that perfect size. It's not too big, it's not too small, it doesn't feel delicate, but it also doesn't feel like you're wielding a sword. It's just good. The blade, I like this new little harpoon notch blade shape. I think it's cool. This little fuller here does look nice, but I know you're all thinking the same thing as me. That is a gunk trap, and it is. I mean, that is a deep gunk trap. I'm going to buy one of these. I'll just let you know. I'm going to buy one of these, but I'm going to wait until they have the double-edged version, and I'm hoping they don't do these little pockets. All this does is it just brings debris and material back into the handle. Now, this is not a knife issue. It's just a blade shape issue. I mean, like they usually release multiple blades. They do a drop point, they do a tanto, they do a compound blade, and they do a double-edged blade. Sometimes I think they do a bayonet. Yeah, like I just need a blade shape that doesn't have this pocket. Most of the time, I think it'll be fine. But even just cutting something like cardboard, if I get a little piece of tape or a piece of cardboard or something in there, yeah, that can kind of mess it up. That can get in the chassis and slow it down. Obviously, it's just as simple as taking it apart and getting the debris out and putting it back together. And honestly, I think you'll be okay for a really long time. You just have to constantly check right after you cut. If you go with this blade shape, you have to constantly check and make sure that there's nothing in there, right? Liquids, and I mean, especially if you're like cutting food and whatever, fruits and vegetables and stuff, yeah, you really got to clean that out. So it just kind of creates an extra task for the user. And I think, if it was like a place to put a little inlay, like a little piece of carbon fiber or like some aluminum or titanium, it could be anodized or whatever, that'd be kind of cool, right? A little spot for some tritium, something like that. Sure, because then, it kind of adds the personality. It gives that little flair without being a place where debris can gather and get sucked into the chassis. It's a minor complaint, and that's a blade shape issue. So if it would also bother you, I would say just wait until they release another blade shape. But the harpoon notch is cool, and I have to admit, it does look good. They still have this, I think all of these are hand sharpened, and they still have this issue where the bevel is like really thin down here and it gets wider. It's not quite as bad as the other two Guardians that I had, but it's definitely still there. I'll let you guys take a look at the plunge grind. This is Magnacut. So what's the HRC? I actually called them because I couldn't find it on their website and I couldn't find it on any retail site. I said, what is the HRC on your Magnacut? And they said, we aim for 61 to 62. And I know I can hear everybody, oh, right, like it's at the end of the world. So Magnacut has a wide range. I've said this many times. I think Laren Thomas himself says it's optimized between 60 and 64. Now, the lower end of that range, probably going to be better with fixed blades where the toughness element is probably a lot more important, right? Your pocket knife geometry, your typical pocket knife geometry and lighter cutting, we want it on the harder side. Where does this fall? I would say light to medium duty. I would prefer that the HRC range is near the top because the added toughness that you gain from having it in the lower end of that optimal range is not really something that's going to be utilized with this knife. Now, you'll get the occasional cave person who will take their OTF out and smash large rocks into smaller rocks with it. And those people aside, because, I mean, their take on this doesn't matter. I'm just being honest. Like, who cares what they think, right? Yeah, like most people are going to be using this for pretty much just like cutting tasks, right? I'm not going to buy something like if I have a screw to screw in, I'm going to use a screwdriver, right? I'll probably have a multi-tool or something like that. Same with the prying and hammering, pry bar, hammer. Those we got tools for those. This I'm going to use like a knife. I'm not going to be able to do any like major batoning tasks or any fixed blade tasks that would benefit from higher toughness and Magnacut, right? I'm going to do mostly cutting tasks. So I would prefer that the HRC range be higher. I don't know what their reasoning is for having it at 61 to 62, but I do want to clarify. This is not the same thing as like M398 at 58. That's not what that is. Like obviously every different composition has a different optimal range. 1095? Yeah. That 58 is great on 1095 on like a camp fixed blade. That's a great HRC, right? It doesn't apply equally to every single composition because every composition has a different intended purpose and is optimized at a different range. Magnacut has a wide range. It can be used in a wide variety of different cutting tools. So is 61 to 62 bad? No, it's not bad. It's just not optimized, right? It's like M390 at 60 isn't bad, but it's not optimized. Optimized on M390 would be 61, 62. But I'll take anything from 60 to 62, personally. Magnacut, not bad at 61, 62. It's fine. It'll be better. It'll have plenty of toughness on a knife like this, 63, 64, and have way better edge retention. That's that. I mean, it's already tough. It's incredibly corrosion resistant. You might as well push it to the limit on a knife like this and go 63, 64. So Guardian Tactical, if for some reason you're watching this, most of the community who's aware of the HRC range, they're probably going to want you to get it up a little higher. But anyways, the rattle in the closed position, a little tiny bit. In the open position, more because there's play, right? This is an OTF. Is there more or less play than, all the other high-end competitors? It feels about the same as Microtech. That's what it feels like to me. No more, no less. It's pretty minimal. Might not be. I have my Scarab out here. Geez, it feels maybe slightly more. No, it feels about the same, honestly. Definitely way less than something like the Benchmade Infidel. That floppy hot dog of an OTF. But yeah, pretty minimal. I don't need it to have zero blade play. It's fine. It's fine, right? Button play, something people always ask me about. I can move the button slightly, but it doesn't like wobble. Like the Microtech button, definitely more play in this guy. This guy, not as much. Open position play, a little more. Scarab, quite a bit more, right? That doesn't matter to me, but apparently it matters to some people. So there you go. Not really anything on the blade. Somewhere I'm sure it does say Magnacut. I just can't find it. Up here, they have this little patent, right? There you go. Guardian Tactical loves this Halloween font. I'm not sure why, but there it is. It's fine. I don't really care. The pocket clip can be mounted. It's funny with an OTF. It's actually tipped down. It's tipped down carry on an OTF. I don't know why I think that's funny. But yeah, the pocket clip can be flipped over and mounted on the other side. So the lefties, you'll have the exact same experience. And the pocket clip is fine. It's got a little bit of a bill that might grab onto things because of that little beak, right? And it's got that double pinch zone, just like Microtech, but it's fine. It works just fine. As far as cutting goes, it's got fairly thick geometry because the blade is not super thick, but it just doesn't drop to an aggressively thin edge. It does cut just fine, though, and the factory edge is plenty sharp. Plenty. I just really wish that they'd get their bevels evened out. What is the price on this knife? I believe it's $295, the base price. We are competing with the Microtech Ultratech. We are competing with, Benchmade's got some stuff, right? We're competing with the Heretic Manticore E or X, maybe? Whichever one's the smaller one. We're competing with the Kershaw Livewire. We're competing with whatever Hogue has, right? I can't remember. That's the territory. True American production. We are not competing with Cobra Tech or Raven Crest Tactile. We're not. Those are rebranded Chinese Microtech clones. You have always been able to buy Cobra Tech knives on Alibaba and DHgate and AliExpress for 50% or less of what Cobra Tech charges. But the Cobra Techs are made in USA? No, they're not. They are Chinese manufactured knives that have been around for a very, very long time. Cobra Tech slapped their name on them and assembles them here in the United States. And then you buy them. And they are honestly kind of okay. I've had people tell me yeah, they hold up. You're just paying too much for them. Those are not made in the United States. And they are absolutely not in the same comparison table at all. Not even close. So dollar for dollar versus the Livewire. Well, the Livewire base price is like $250. They use Magnacut, and I think they hit that range. They hit 63, 64. I know Hogue does, right? I think Kershaw's hitting at least 62, 63. They don't feel quite as comfortable to fire. This still feels better. Hogue, also definitely not. It's nowhere near as satisfying to fire some of those Hogue OTFs, but they're fine. They're very good. Benchmade's, they're just ridiculously overpriced. It's hard to even compare those. They have the floppiest action. They have the weakest material choices. It's like plastic and like Chex Mix. It's just, I hate it. And then your Microtech Ultratech, the newer ones. I don't know what the fate of the ZBT is. Whatever, right? I don't need zero blade tolerance or whatever on a knife like this. Microtech, they use their M390 and M390 MK, so it's not Magnacut, right? This is very competitive. Honestly, I prefer this firing switch largely to Microtech, and I also like the size of this. I think there are reasons still to buy the Microtech competitor and the Kershaw competitor. The Kershaw Livewire is a really strong option because of the properly heat-treated Magnacut and the still plenty comfortable firing switch. It's also very, very reliable, and it's made in the USA. It's $50 less. If this did not have this big open thing right here, the cutting bevel was perfect, and they were hitting their HRC range from 63 to 64, I would give this thing the title of greatest USA OTF of all time. It's those little teeny tiny things. Should you buy it? It's still really good. This is still a really, really good knife. I still like it. Personally, I like it enough. I'm going to send this one back. I'm going to wait until they have a double edge, and then I'm going to go ahead and buy it. I'm okay with I'd prefer 63, 64 Magnacut just for the extra edge retention. It probably take me months before I'll have to sharpen it either way, right? But I still want my engine to have the advertised horsepower, even if I'm not going to race it. I still want it. So yeah, I still think this is really good. I'm not really upset with the price tag. I think it's cool, and it's offering something that Kershaw doesn't have, which is the bearing switch, and that super cozy action. It's just awesome, right? It's also a small shop. It's definitely not a company that's as big as Kai USA. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. I wish that they would check into the HRC stuff, but outside of that, I think that this is plenty recommendable. So you can make that decision for yourself, but I say thumbs up. Thanks again to eKnives. Check out eKnives. Links for this in the description at eKnives. Please Make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.